The Indian tongue, it's more accurately rendered as M-O-N-T-A-U-P, Montaup, but it became Mount Hope in English. Massasoit's son met a comet known as King Philip, was murdered there at the base of Mount Hope by the settlers some 50 years after the first Thanksgiving. So this area, its appearance, you know, this time of year is very much like the first Thanksgiving setting, and also probably close to the setting that saw the end of the Massasoit's descendants as owners of this property. Now, we have arrived back on the other side of the Osprey Nest, which I will stop and take a brief look at. That, up in the top of the tree, right over there, is the Osprey Nest. It's a pretty awful looking construction. They don't seem to be terribly careful builders, but the male osprey will come off and break off twigs in the tree, from the trees in the little forests around. It's an interesting process. They dive into the trees, grab hold of a stick, and pull it as they plummet to the ground, and then they pull out of their dive with the stick in their claw, and they fly back to the nest. So there's an awful lot of stuff there. There's plastic and, you know, chunks of this and that and the other thing, but it serves them well. That particular nest has been there, well, actually this particular nest only been here for a couple of years, because a hurricane that blew through 3 years ago took out, well, I guess it's 4 or 5 years now, took out the nest, and it had to be rebuilt from scratch. Every year they add some stuff to it. They need to, because it doesn't weather all that well. Anyhow, Osprey Nest. Well, it's not going to be a good day to take Cozy out for a walk if the shotguns keep being shot off, because Cozy really doesn't like the firearms sound and goes a little bit crazy. So that'll be interesting later on in the morning. where we're walking is Pappasquash Neck. Pappasquash supposedly is a Anglicization of an Indian phrase which translated back again to English is papooses and squaws. Papooses and squaws, because the Indians liked to have their women and children go further out this peninsula when there was danger, when there were marauding other tribes coming after them, because this area was narrow and could be protected. You could repel any invading Indians pretty easily by defending this narrow neck of land, which is today somewhat broader than it was in those days. But this is the narrow part of the neck. As you can see, a salt marsh on one side, salt marsh on the other side, and relatively easy to defend with all of the women and children to the south of here. So Pappasquash Road, Pappasquash Neck, papooses and squaws. Well, that's a bit of excitement. Thanksgiving Day. Get your gun out and let's shoot us some birds.